So chapter 2, section 3, it's formulas and tables. Formulas are basically an equation, but it has to be something equals something. So if you have like a y equals 3x plus 2, because of the y equals, it's a formula. Or you could have a equals pi r squared. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So it's just one letter, one variable equals something. But tables, data tables, you could use these formulas to fill in a data table. And that's really just kind of what I have for the notes. So formulas can be used to fill in data tables. So formulas can be used to fill in data tables. And I'm just going to go through, do a few examples, and then we're done. So I'm going to say the tip should be 15% of your bill. So tip. At a restaurant, they say if you get good service, should be about 15% of the cost of the meal. So tip 15% of the bill. So if you wanted to have a formula for that, we could do T for tip. Does that work for you? And then equals 0.15 times, should we do a B for bill? Something like that. So T equals 0.15 B. So that would be an example of a formula. It's just a single letter. T equals something else. And if we wanted to fill in a data table for that, I'm going to just make a horizontal one. It fits a little better on my screen. And I'm going to have my top be the bill. If you want to say bill and throw like lowercase b in there, you could. But the bill with parentheses, the symbol, the variable for that is the b. And then you have the tip, and that's going to be my T. The reason I put the bill on the top is the tip depends on the bill. So the bill is the independent variable, the tip is the dependent. So I'm going to just pick a couple values, so maybe we'll say $10. So that'll be my first X value, or my first cost for the bill. And I'll do a $14.50. And then a $23.79, so $23.79. So whether you did McDonald's or Mr. Burger or someplace else. All right, so the tip. So what do I do to my $10 to figure out the tip that goes in right there? Go for it.
You divide it.
Ooh, well, if you don't divide, but if this here is my B value, I could just take this and put it right in there for B. Yeah. So if we grab a calculator, I'll have to grab one in a second. We could punch in a calculator, or can anyone do 10 times 0.15 in their head?
Don't you just put it on 0?
Yep. You move the decimal point one place, so we get a total of
1.50.
Yep, 1.5. Oops. So, well, the tip itself would be, if you do 0.15 times 10, you'll get 1.5. Because it's money, I'm going to write 1.5 as 1.50. It's $1.50. So money, do money to 2 decimal points. This next one I'm not going to attempt in my head, but I could do 0.15 times 14.5, or 14.50, and I get 2.175. Ooh, do we write 2.175?
No.
Write 2.17. Well, if it's 2.175, we're going to round to 2 digits because it's money. 7 or 8?
Goes up.
Yep. Because 5 or above,
Give it a shove.
give it a shove. Nice. 4 or below, keep it low. Okay, then the last one, I'm going to type in 0.15. I'm taking this 23.79 and I'm putting it in there for B. So 0.15 times 23.79, and I get 3.5685. So 3.568 would be 3.57, because it was 3.5685. We're going to round to 2 decimal points because it's money. Because we have an 8 that we're lopping off, we round the 6 up to a 7. That work for the first one?
Yep,
okay. A second type of question you're going to see in here is going to be similar, but we're kind of doing it in the other order. So I'll say example 2. Find the formula. So now we're going to get the data table filled in. And we need to come up with what's the equation, what's the formula. Find the formula relating time and distance driven. And we'll maybe say you like set the cruise control on your car, and you keep track of how far you go for different amounts of time. And I'll make a data table. So I'm going to have time on the top, because distance depends on time, so distance will go down below. What I probably should have done, I'm going to rewrite my time, leave a little space for variables. So time, it doesn't matter if you did that or not, I just want to make sure my notes are clear. So time will be a t, distance will do a lowercase letter d. My numbers for time, I have a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And then under the 2 I have 90. And then under the 3 I have 135. And under the 4 I have 180. So some of you might be able to look at that and see what's happening already. This is what I would do if I were you. This is the process I go through to figure these out. I need to have some way to get from 2 to 90. If I'm adding, what do I add to 2 to get to 90? Go for it. Yep, so plus 88. So I'm just going to write a plus 88 down there. So one thing that could be in my formula is take the time value and add 88. The other option, what do I multiply 2 by to get to 90? You can just holler it out.
0.15.
So 2 times 0.15 won't get you to 80 though. 2 times 45 does. Might be easier if you think it the other way in your head, 45 times 2. If you double 45, you get 90. So those are two ways. And this won't always work, but often it'll be either addition or it'll be multiplication. So we're wondering now, that works for 2. Either of those works for 2. Does one of those or maybe both of those work for the 3? Well, if I do 3 plus 88, does it get me 135? No, it'd get me 91. So this plus 88 doesn't fit right here. It'd be a plus 132 there. Does 3 times 45 get me 135?
Yes.
Yep, you could punch it in if you wanted to, but yes, it works. So it looks like this here, 3 times 45 gives me 135. So you could assume that's the right answer. That can be a little dangerous. Or you could try it, well, does 4 times 45 give me 180?
Yes.
Yep. So in all of these cases, I'm taking my time value times 45, and that gives me my distance value. Does that make sense so far? So for our, any questions? Okay, and I can help you with the homework if you're getting stuck on those too. So now our formula, is it going to be t equals or d equals? Typically, if we look at this one here, we had t equals in this one, and it's because our tip was our bottom. Our tip was our dependent, right? That's that dependent variable is going to be by itself. So even though I have a t in the second problem, it's going to be this distance value right there is my dependent. So it'll make most sense probably if you do d equals, how do I take and put in this times 45 every time into my formula? Katie, what would it be?
D equals t times 45.
Perfect. I'm going to write it the other order and say 45t. Usually they'll do numbers before variables. You could do 45t or 45 times t. But technically t times 45 is right as well. Let's try one more, and then we are done for the day, and you have the rest of the time to work. So example, find the formula. So similar to this last one, find the formula relating representatives and total congressmen. Congressmen. Or congresswomen for that matter. So I'm going to have my top row be the representatives, and I'll just make that be a lowercase letter r. The bottom row will be my congressmen. I'm just going to do C-O-N-G and make that a C. But if I have one representative, I'm going to have 3 congressmen. So 1 goes on the top, 3 goes on the bottom. If I have 4 representatives, I have 6 congressmen. And then if I have 6 representatives, I'd have 8 congressmen. Maybe I should lead through the steps, but some of you already see it, right? So to get from 1 to 3, you could add 2, or you could multiply by
1. Wait, no. 2. 3.
3. Because 1 times 3 gives me 3. right, if we go over to this 4, to get from 4 to 6, you could add 2, or you could multiply by, well, not 3, right? 4 times 3 is 12. So you could right away say it doesn't work, and it would end up being 1.5. But we're multiplying by different amounts each time, right? So it can't be the multiplication. Does that plus 2 work for my 6 and my 8?
Yes.
Yep, because right here it works for plus 2. So my formula then, is it going to be R equals or C equals?
C.
C equals, because that's my dependent variable, so C equals. And I need to find some way to say the first number plus 2.
R plus 2.
R plus 2. Plus 2. You could do 2 plus R also, but because it's not multiplication, usually they'll put the number at the end, like Nate said. So R plus 2 is perfect. Feel like you have a fighting chance? All right, cool. That's all.